Thank you guys for joining. This is great. We have some good content today in this beautiful, beautiful day. I just went on a run and it looks a lot better and it feels a lot better than last Wednesday when I was feeling a little lazy. As I told you, sometimes I feel like not doing things too, but it's all on keeping up and just continue doing it. Last week when I woke up, it was 42 degrees. It was kind of rainy and I was feeling like I wanted to snooze a little bit, but I got up, I went on a run, and afterwards it was great. But today was a lot easier. It's 70, it's in the 70s right now already here. Sunny, gorgeous. Okay, we have 55 right now on Instagram. All right, it's 10:06, so let's go ahead and start. Let me grab my notes. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing fantastic, Santiago. Yourself?
I'm doing amazing. So for those that you're joining and you don't know Steve Scholl is an incredible human being. He's a friend of mine. He's my personal coach. He's coach for many. He's an ex-NFL player, an incredible individual that I inspire myself off and I bounce ideas off, and he helps me through my real estate business and my personal business. So I wanted to invite him to be part of this, to put some input, to ask me questions, to exchange some information. He's a coach for many real estate agents too, so he's been talking to a lot of them, so he's got a lot of insight all over the United States. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the topic that we have today. We're going to jump right into it right now. Now that we have enough people, we have close to 200 in Zoom, and Instagram is growing slowly, but I think they're going to be joining more and more. We're around 60 right now. So, going back to what we've been talking all this time about this, now we've been close to a month into this lockdown. So we must be accustomed. We must have our routines. We must know what to do. And yes, we must go crazy some days. There's some days that I just go crazy and I just want to get out. Yesterday, I felt like I wanted to go and take a drive. So I went and took a little drive around town to feel like I'm out of my house. But what's most important is that we need to use this time. This time is so valuable. This time is such an incredible opportunity for us to do all the things that we don't get to do when we don't have time. I mean, this is really a time for us to prepare ourselves better. This is a time where we can take advantage of all this. You have really two options right now. One option is get depressed, be miserable, and start beating yourself on why things are this way right now. Option two is to motivate yourself. And motivating yourself is one of the most powerful tools you can use in moments like this, because people that motivate themselves, people that prepare themselves, people they use this time to find what's important, to prepare yourself better when things come back. This time's not going to last forever. Like good times come and vacations and you have a great time and you come back and you're like, oh, I wish that vacation wasn't over, or I wish that great time I was having wasn't over. It ends. And it ends because everything has cycles and everything goes by the law of polarity, right? You need to have a great time and then you need to have not so great time to appreciate the great time. So right now we are in a challenging time, financially, economically, with lockdown, health-wise. The whole world is in the same conditions as we are. It's not just a group of people. It's all of us across the board, some more than other ones, unfortunately. For those, usually we do a moment of silence that we didn't do today. So let's just take a 20-second of silence right now for the people that have lost the loved ones, the people that are sick, the people that are suffering a lot right now, the people they don't have the opportunity to have a house, they have food, they have the things that a lot of us are blessed to have. So like just 20 seconds right now, because I know we're a little behind and we jump right into it. So please bear with me for 20 seconds. All right, thank you. So talking about the two options, let's prepare. How do we prepare ourselves? We talked about, fear last week and how fear can take over yourself, take over your brain, and just get you into places and dark places and think about things that you don't want to be thinking right now. And it's very easy to jump into that. All you have to do is just turn on the TV, go on social media, look at the wrong things. And it's a choice that we have. That's the only thing we have, is that choice, whether you want to watch channel of the news or you want to go and find an inspiring TV show, or you want to go online and do a online course, or you want to follow someone on Instagram that is inspirational. I gave you many names of many teachers that are out there that are doing amazing content right now, like Joe Dispenza is killing it, Tony Robbins as usual. You have so many. I mean, I can name hundreds of it, So just go in there and start following that. Start putting that kind of message in your head. That's going to help you, So when we talk about motivating yourself, we talk about a number of different things. There are a lot of exercises and everything. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about is exercise, health, feeding your brain, your mind, and also feeding your body with the right things. Because if you really think about it, I mean, this time will pass. Things like this come and go. If you get an opportunity down the road or something and you don't have your health, then you really don't have anything. I mean, you can, have that amazing opportunity, and then you need to end up going to the hospital, and then you won't be able to take advantage of it. So let's take care of ourselves. Let's eat healthy. Let's have an understanding of why it's important to exercise. And I'm huge on exercise because, as you can see, I just came back from my run and I'm all fired up right now. And the reason of that is that when you run, you release a number of hormones. You release the endorphins, oxytocin, you release dopamine. There's a number of them, but the one that is really one of the most important ones right now is being able to release oxytocin. Oxytocin signals nitric oxygen into your heart, so it pumps a lot of blood. It makes you feel really good. It makes you aroused. It makes you in love with life. And when you have your heart filled up with that, there is no room for fear. There is no room for feeling a grudge about something, for feeling upset about something. So the more you can feel that way, the better it is. And the reality right now that we live in is an incredible opportunity, because I think is the end of many paradigms that we've been living in, the fear, the greed, all those old paradigms are going to go away. There is not going to be room for those paradigms, because what's going to happen right now, I think there is a lot of people are awakening. I think there is a huge level of consciousness coming into place. I mean, there's so many great things that come out of this. I took notes. I was thinking about it last night, preparing for this. But there's so many good things that are happening. Right now is a time. It's important to not to react to fear, to be able to change this. I mean, all as humans beings right now, we need to be in the same wavelength to change the paradigm, to go from a place of fear, of envy, of greed, of all that kind of stuff, to get into a place where we can, everybody start giving the best of themselves and feeling whole and being positive, and all that's going to change the energy around the world. It's going to change. It's going to make people inventions, creations, solutions to become and start coming out there from a better place, from a place of abundance, as opposed to a place of fear. Right now we have those old paradigms for so many years that it comes from a place of lack as opposed to a place of abundance. We live in an abundant world. Everybody can have everything. Someone doesn't need to have less for you to have more. And when everybody aligns and starts thinking that way, amazing teachers are going to come out with amazing ideas on how to solve the health problem, on how to solve this. There's going to be a lot better solutions coming from a much better place, and new paradigms are going to start building up, and new ways of lifestyle, and new ways of solutions, of new leaders are going to come in the world for us to change the world. I mean, this is like a little bit of like a wake-up call, I mean, to kind of realize that we cannot keep going at the pace that we were going. It wasn't working. It's just not working. It's not working for Earth. I mean, we have climate change. That has been something that a lot of people have been talking for so many years, and a lot of people don't pay attention to it or ignore it. It's easy to turn around and not wanting to look at the thing that looks ugly. But the reality is that we as humans, as participants, as being living in this world and sharing this universe and this planet, we have to look into it. As ugly as it looks, you need to look into it. You need to find solutions. You need to put of your part to change. I mean, what an amazing time right now is, and what a great opportunity for Earth to recover. In this month, call it that. The things have slowed down. I don't know if you notice going out there and seeing the birds, the animals, the lizards are coming out. The air feels better. The sky feels better. What a great opportunity to use right now to be with your families. What a great opportunity for those that have children to spend time one-on-one with your kids, teach them how to ride a bicycle, teach them things that you did not have the time to do because life goes 1,000 miles per hour. And I'm one of them, that I'm just making an effort to try to now spend a little more time with my kids and teach them and talk to them and ride a bicycle and teach them how to do different things. What a great opportunity to have time now to retreat and to think about what's important, what's not important. So I encourage you to do that. I mean, if we all can do that, this is a world of energy. And when we all switch to the same wavelength, that energy, the synergy of that energy is going to work in an amazing way. And we're going to start seeing some wonderful, wonderful things out there. So what do you think about that, Steve? You have any comments on that?
Well, this is a comment that I've noticed in you, observed in you, since we started working together. You're always thinking about how to get better. Always. You're consumed with it. You said earlier, feeding your brain, and you're always feeding your brain. You're always thinking, how can I do this better? How can I do this better? And you have fear like everyone else. You face obstacles like everyone else. And it's never the situation. It's always your response to the situation. And this is a great example. Everyone's in the same situation. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone has a forced timeout. However, everyone's response is not the same. And you're getting on this call every week because you want to do something. You want to do some good. You want to keep moving forward. And so I'd encourage everyone to, look at Santiago's example and be thinking, okay, what can I do right now to create positive change?
Thank you, Steve. No, thank you. I appreciate that. And you helped me to stay in track sometimes when I wanted to get out or change, which happens very little. But when that happens, I love having you because you're always there. And you don't let me bullshit you. Sorry for the bad word, but that's the reality that we like to bullshit ourselves. We like to tell stories, and literally our mind starts to justify and create stories for us to make excuses on what not this. So I talked to you last week about changing goals. Don't change goals. Keep your goals. That's something that I learned from Steve. One time when I went to say, hey, so I adjust my goal down, he yelled at me. He was like, no, you can't change your goal. So that's when I learned. I'm like, okay, he's right. Why would I change it? Let's just wait for next year. If I didn't do it this year, I'm going to do it next year or the next year or the next year, but it's going to happen, So going back a little bit to the old paradigm and the new one, now that we are waking, now that we're getting into this new one and this new lifestyle, this new way of being, don't go back. It's going to be very easy for a lot of us to fall again into fear. It's going to be easy to go back and doing the same things that we've done before, but that's just going to take us to the old world, to the old us. If we want to live in the new one, if we want to be new, if we want to change, we need to train ourselves. And this is why we're talking about this every week. We need to train ourselves, and we need to make an effort to do exercises, meditate, wake up, do the exercises of being grateful, make a list of what you're grateful for every morning, pray, meditate, go on a run, exercise, listen to audiobooks, any of those things that you need to get to train your brain to get there, I think that's one of the most important things, not to fall into the old way of being. See, people that don't change, if you expect new things to happen to you, if you expect new changes, new opportunities, things that come out there, they're not going to happen for you keeping doing the same thing that you've been doing the whole time. That's insanity. You need to change, and you need to do things different. You need to go out there and try new things. You need to have the discipline to read a new book. You need to have the discipline to do new exercises. You need to have the discipline to do something different. If you want to see change, you need to change. You cannot expect that change happens just magically. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, you're not going to get a different result. So let's use this time to train ourselves. And it's going to be a little tricky in the beginning. I'll tell you, it's not easy. And even now, for me, that I've been doing this for over 10 years, there are days that, I struggle. But just go back to my notes. I go back to my books. I go back to my journal. I told you how important it is to write a journal, because I go back to when I was giving up other times years ago, and it reminded me that I shouldn't, and it reminded me of what I did at the moment to get out of that bad place. And I just, by reading that, I find a way how to get out of it again and go back to track and continue to go forward, right? So that's what's most important, I think. Let's don't go back to the old way of thinking. This is a time of change for everybody in the world. Let's use it. Let's change, but let's change for good. Let's change for let's really make an effort to make a change, you know.
And Santiago, I think an interesting thing to bring up, and I think everyone needs to hear this. Most everyone on the call who's in real estate would love to have your level of production. That would be the greatest dream in the world. And what's interesting, though, I think this is our 4th year working together, and we've probably had less than 5 real estate conversations in 4 years. The thing that you think about all the time is, not what's going on with a specific deal. It's how can you expand your awareness? How can you become more aware? How can you think bigger? We're never in the weeds. That's not what's growing your business. It's not the tactics that you do every day. It's more this thing than anything else.
It's true. I had a lot of people that coach with you that have come to me and said, how many times you talk to Steve? How many times you see Steve? What do you guys talk about? How does he help you? Does he give you any secrets that he's not giving to me? Is he giving you some, and the reality is, like I tell them, I'm like, to be honest, I meet with Steve, and very, very few times we talk about actually what should I be doing real estate wise? How many calls I need to make? How many, I like talking to Steve because he keeps it real. He doesn't let me wander on my mind of, what about this or what that's happening. So there's a lot of things that they don't matter. The things that, we talk about in our first conversation here, the things that we don't have control over it, and gives me go back into what I can control and what not. Now I'm going to lose that listing. This happens, that doesn't matter. There's another one. This is going to happen. And, to be honest, I opened up last week, I feel bummed out sometimes, like everybody else. Look, since this happened, I'll tell you, since you mentioned the production, I do have an amazing production, and I sell a lot of properties and a year. But I gotta tell you, since the coronavirus happened, I have about $47 million fell out of escrow. I had an investment on a property that I was buying for myself that is not going well, and I might lose my deposit. It happens. It is what it is, and it's not sitting down there and beating myself. I'm not saying I'm happy that that's happening to me. Just to be super honest, I'm not happy about it, but there's a learning experience out of that. There is a lot that I'm learning of, on that investment, on what happened there. What could I have done differently? And you can't grow unless you fail. And when I fail, I see the failures and the things that don't happen to me as opportunities to grow to the next level and to be better next time and to not make those mistakes next time. So it's okay to go and fail sometimes. Okay to lose that listing. It's okay to make a wrong investment and lose. I was talking to a friend of mine and partner, Mauricio Umansky, and we were talking one time, and he said something that got stuck in my head. He said, you know what, we cannot win all of them. As long as we're winning more than we're losing, that's what's important, and that's right. It's like you can't win all the time, sometimes you lose. Now, the secret is when you lose, how do you use that defeat in your favor? How do you learn from that experience for the future? Thomas Edison, I think, failed over 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. And now look, we have light. But nobody talks about the failures. Nobody talks how hard it is, I don't come here and I do one of these conversations online. I'll tell you how many times I did not get listings, how many times I did not, do well, because I learned from that experience and what I want to pass to you guys. And again, everything that I'm talking, by the way, right now is just based on my own experience. I'm not the guru. I'm not trying to tell you what the secret of life is. I'm just feel like, I had a great time in life. I'm being very blessed. I'm being great. I'm super grateful for it. And I found ways how to navigate. That's why I call this navigating through the storm. In hard times, when things weren't good in my life, I found ways, I found books, I found teachers, I found routines, things that have helped me navigate through it, because this time's going to pass, guys. I'm telling you right now, when it passes, you don't want to be feeling that, oh, I wish I would have used that time a little bit more for something better. I wish I would have read an extra book. I wish I would have prepared myself better. Use this time because this will pass. We'll go back to life. We'll go back to selling homes. People need to buy homes. People need to sell homes. It might be adjustment on prices most likely, but that's okay. Adjust the prices. They're going to sell again. The cycles are going to come back. We're going to go back to do well. And what you want to do is you want to prepare yourself better for that time because it's coming. And now is a perfect opportunity for you guys to prepare. Okay. What do you say, Steve?
And I want to go back to something you just mentioned. Again, everyone dreams about having your production. Everyone dreams about selling $10 million homes and $25 million homes and $100 million homes. What they don't understand is that you can lose $50 million in escrow. You've had months where you've lost $100 million in a month in terms of deals that people don't realize. And I got this off a clip with Denzel Washington. You're only going to succeed up to the point that you're willing to fail. And in order to do the business that you do, you've got to be willing to fail every day. You've got to deal with disappointment, not little disappointment, big disappointment. 47 million for most agents is 2 or 3 years of production. And so it's understanding that these are the things that you have to be willing to risk in order to do the type of business that you do.
Yeah, I mean, it comes with the territory, I mean, the growth grows everything, right? You grow the positives and then also the problems are going to grow. The bigger the business you have, the more employees you have, the more challenges they come. And you just need to kind of adapt to that, and work around it and learn from it and become better. There's this quote from Emerson that it says, shallow people believe in luck and circumstances, but strong people believe in cause and effect. So if you sit down waiting for luck, if you sit down waiting for the circumstances are just going to come in front of you and you're going to be like, oh, this is my opportunity, you're going to be sitting for a long time. But if you create your opportunities, if you create your own luck by preparing yourself better, and whether you're in a real estate business or any business you are, if you understand your business and you prepare yourself better when you are there, when the opportunity comes, that's going to be the moment that you're going to take advantage of it. You not sit there and wait for that to happen, and it's going to come with flags saying, this is it, this is the opportunity of your life, take me right now. It's not going to happen. Okay, you need to create it. And then it's even that takes me to this other phrase that I wrote down, and I don't remember who said it, but I just wrote it down here, and it said, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have any than have an opportunity in front of you and not be prepared for it. So we need to prepare ourselves. We need to be ready. You probably heard this is like a cliche, like 1,000 times, what the definition of luck is. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. There's nothing more true than that. If you are prepared and you go and see it, I mean, as an example, because I know most of you guys that we are here right now are real estate agents. If you are prepared and you're called for a listing appointment and you're sitting with a family and you are prepared, you will take that down. And when I say prepare, you need to be prepared. You need to know your market. You need to know your comps. You need to know the property. You need to know as much as you can of that family or that individual. You need to be prepared for the questions they're going to ask you about what sold, what didn't sell. But you also need to be prepared spiritually and in your mind. You cannot go into that meeting feeling nervous and worry and anything like that. You need to be confident. And how you do that? You do that through all these things that we're talking about. You prepare your mind, you prepare your health, you prepare your body. So when you walk in that room and you walk with that energy, they're going to feel that. They're going to be like, this guy is so confident. This girl is so confident. I feel like she's going to sell our house. Let's give it to her. I mean, they will feel a difference between 3 other people walking in that room, not feeling the way you feel, not being prepared the way you prepare. And if you complement that with knowing your market and knowing what you're doing, I'm telling you right now, you're going to go out there and you're going to kill it. So let's prepare ourselves.
I've been in your office. I've listened to you have really tough conversations with clients. Your clients, not all, enough though, are not easy to deal with. And the thing that I've always noticed when you're talking to a client is the firmness in your voice, that you're not been, you know, you're not a doormat. You're not trying to contort yourself into a pretzel in order to make someone happy. You're very honest and you're very direct, and you're not afraid of that tough conversation. And that's a big part of being successful. You have to have many, many tough conversations.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, listen, I mean, we need to all understand that in this business, for example, someone, that client, that friend client, that new client that has trusted us with one of the most important assets that they might own in a lifetime, right? Is their home. Is such an important thing. You need to take it seriously. And when I talk about taking seriously, you have to talk and tell the truth. You cannot be scared on not telling them the truth, or not talking candidly, or not representing them candidly, because then you're doing a disservice to yourself and you're doing a disservice to those clients, you know. And that goes back to preparing. You know, you need to look at numbers. You need to be realistic. And in markets like right now, it's very important, you know, to talk about reality, because I believe that we now have gone into a recession, you know, and then there's cycles in real estate, and we're like getting into this cycle, and it's gonna be, but things are gonna sell. There are buyers out there. Their interest rates are still low, and they're going to continue to be low, I think. I think that other areas in the market, they're going to suffer a lot more, like retail. I think that apartment buildings and all those places are going to suffer a lot more than residential. So it's time for us to go. I mean, I know we're limited with the showings and what we can do right now, and we explain to our clients, and most of my clients have been so amazing that they're grateful and they understand, and we're doing the best we can. But this time is going to come around, and you want to be prepared when people start able to look at houses and everything, to get out there. And in the meantime, right now, you should be pushing more your markets in online, through social media, do virtual tours, do anything that you're allowed to do in the different parts of the country that you are, you know. So that's with that, you know. I mean, if you are giving such an important asset from an individual, from a client, from a family, you know, take it seriously, respect them, represent them to the best of your ability. Okay. um, let's switch a little bit gears here to talk about a little bit of how do you motivate yourself. And I'm going to go through a few points that I already mentioned to you, but I know that when it comes to this, and Steve tells me all the time, because I'm like, okay, I need to go and speak at one of your seminars again. And, you know, I feel like sometimes I repeat things, but the reality is like, you cannot repeat enough, because we need to be reminded multiple times, actually, of what are the things that we need to do, you know. So we're going to go again. I mean, there's 4 things that I want to mention to you. Exercise, right? With exercise, I put diet in there, because I think exercising and eating healthier things, they go holding hands. Set goals. You know, we talk about setting daily, weekly, monthly, yearly goals, and then a long-term goal. I spoke with you about when I do my visualization, and maybe we can cover another time and do a step-by-step visualization exercise, which is one of my favorite things to do. We'll do it where everybody can get to close their eyes and imagine and visualize their own thing, and I guide you a little bit through the process. But visualization with goals that are long term, like I told you, since I was 29, 28 until now, I've been visualizing the same goal. It's changed a little bit where it's going to be, how it's going to take place, but I have it down to the details of how that's going to happen. So that's the big goal, right? But you do need monthly, weekly, or bi-monthly, daily goals. Then you need a plan of action. Because if you don't take action, if you don't do it, goals and plans are just good ideas that get set on a piece of paper and become nothing. So you have to take action, and you need to do things that get you to do that, right? And then you need to schedule it. You need a structure. Everybody needs a structure. I don't know if you use Outlook or any other CRM system, but you need to have a structure where you know that I know that today I woke up, I know I needed to meditate, I know I needed to do my prayer, I know I needed to exercise, and I know I need to come back on time to set up this, to talk to you guys. And after this, I have my schedule, you know, planned for the day. Although I'm not going to the office, I'm working, I'm keeping myself busy, and we know how important that is. What do you think, Steve?
Well, as you were talking last week, you spoke to going to the gym late at night and being on the treadmill and screaming out your goals and, you know, not caring if everyone thinks, who is this nutcase? And I think that's really important. You know, what's more important to you, what you want or what other people think of you? And you know, the thing about you, and this goes for everyone on the call, you have to figure out what works for you. Santiago's not on here saying, do what I do. He's just sharing, this is what I do to motivate myself, inspire myself, keep myself up. But you got to be a little crazy. You've got to be a little crazy. You've got to do stuff that's uncomfortable. Like, you know, you talk about jumping in the ocean. Just to jump in the ocean, to see what it feels like in that cold, cold water, to remind yourself that it's important to be uncomfortable. So I think, you know, doing those things that yank you out of your comfort zone on a regular basis, and you do that to remind yourself, that's where I need to live, outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, and there is something amazing about when you do things like that, right? Because you get out of your comfort zone, but then you do it, and there is an energetic thing that happens in there. It's almost like you sending a message to the universe, to God, saying, this is what I'm gonna do. And you make your mind. There is a difference between saying I'm gonna do that and actually really feeling it and that you are going to do that. That's what's connecting out there. It's not saying it, it's not writing it down, it's feeling it, right? If you mix the feelings with, you know, with your goals, and you emotionalize though, that's what's going to manifest into actually being something real. Okay, so time time is the most valuable thing that everybody has, and we all have the same. I don't care if you're a billionaire, I don't care if you're whatever, we all have the same amount of time. And you heard this before. So I heard this before, and I don't remember from where, but it got stuck in my brain. Is like, how do you spend your time? You spend your time like cash, or you spend your time like a credit card? And it's an interesting kind of way to look at it, because it's a lot easier to have a credit card and spend than actually have cash. If someone gives you a credit card, you're gonna go and spend money faster than you're actually gonna spend if you have cash. When you have cash, you see the cash, you see how much you have, you see that is becoming less and less, and you're gonna be more careful with it. Same as with time. You need to think about your time as your most valuable thing. So let's just be careful about how we spend it, you know? I wrote down here an amazing quote from Abraham Lincoln that I think you guys are gonna love. It says, good things will happen to people that wait for them, right? But they will be the leftovers of the people who hustle. How amazing is that? So you want to be the person that waits for the good things, or you want to be the person that hassles? So, you know, I find these amazing quotes and I write down. I mean, I have papers and I have books, and this is a presentation that I did last year for the company. We had a forum at the agency for a global forum, and it was amazing. So I'm just kind of collecting information from different places to share with you, and 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 see if we can find benefit of this. So what I like to do, Steve, now that we kind of like go over what's important and the things before we finish, I like to open it up to a few questions. I'm gonna go here on the participants that we have on there's a Q&A section for the chat. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go in Zoom. I'm gonna ask a few questions out of Zoom, and I'm gonna answer. And Steve, feel free to jump in if you wanna add to those questions. Okay. There is Solomon Gans. Is asking question for Santiago. Thank you for doing this. You seem to dedicate a ton of time to visualization. I think an hour in the morning and an hour at night. Why so much time? Well, look. Hey, how are you, Solomon? Good to hear from you. It doesn't have to be an hour. It doesn't have to be anything. It has to be what you feel. It doesn't have to be a torture. Okay. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I have to sit 1 hour now and I have to visualize, and you need to try really hard. That's going to feel like hours, no 1 hour. When you learn how to visualize, and when you are concentrated in the right thing, and when you are feeling that you are in the zone, I call it, when you are visualizing and you actually transported yourself to that place, it's going to feel so good that you're not going to want to come out of it. So that's the difference. Okay. You're going to feel like 20 minutes that you're doing that. They went so fast that, you know, and the reason is because you want to be visualizing and having that emotion in it. You're going to feel like you're there. You want to trick your brain that you actually are there, whatever you want to be, whoever you want to be with. You want to make sure that you tricked it in a way where you're feeling those feelings. And I tell you this before, you start imagining where you're going to be, and use as an example, whatever you want to be in a vacation, you want to be in a boat, you want to be in the snow, you want to be in a plane, whatever it is. And you close your eyes and you visualize that, and what you're drinking, who's next to you, what you're wearing, what does it feel, is it cold, is it warm. If you start making so much detail into it, you're going to actually trick your brain, and it's going to feel that you're there. And you're going to realize sometimes what happens to me, and you start smiling, no realizing that you're smiling. And the reason is because your brain's thinking that you're there. So the natural thing is to smile, is to feel euphoric, is to feel excited. So if you're feeling that way, the longer that you can stay there, the faster that is going to happen to you. Because what's going to happen is the universe is going to find the people, the opportunities, the right ideas you're going to come up with, the things that you normally don't see, you're going to start seeing out there, that is going to get you to get to that place. So you don't have to worry how it's going to happen. You just need to know that will happen. And then everything is going to come together, with opportunities, with people, with things. You're going to get a call from a client, I want to sell my house. I mean, anything like that can happen to get you closer to being able to have that moment that you're picturing in your brain. So an hour, half an hour, 20 minutes. I mean, maybe start with 5 minutes. You know, now it takes a little bit of time, because you need to quiet your thinking first. You know, when you sit down and you want to visualize, and you cross your legs and you get in a position, you're going to start thinking about your phone. You're going to start thinking about tomorrow, what happened today, who you going to fight with, who told you this. So first you need to quiet that. And once you quiet it, then you can jump into the visualization. And that's going to take a little bit of time, you know, and practice. So that's why I do an hour. So I hope that answers that question, Solomon.
I would add to that, Santiago. You've mentioned Dr. Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural. And what I think people don't understand visualization. They think of visualization in terms of setting goals. Visualization is retraining the way you think and feel. That's what you're actually doing. You're retraining your brain and your heart to think and feel in alignment with what you want in life. And that's why doing it for an hour, not that you have to do it for an hour, but you've got 20, 30, 40, 50 years of thinking based on fear and lack and scarcity. And now you've got to reprogram yourself. If you want to change your life, you have to change your energy. And the way you change your energy is changing the way you think and feel. And that's what the exercise of visualization is all about, changing the way you think and feel.
Exactly. So I'm going to jump into, thank you, Steve. I'm going to jump into another question here by Gina Blancart. How are you, Gina? I hope you're doing great up north. We miss you here. She says, good to see you again. And she says, how do you handle the naysayers in your life? Do you simply tune them out, or you share your lofty goals with them? Look, I mean, there are different levels of naysayers. You probably heard that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the time with. So you got to be guarded and very careful on who you spend time with. And yes, to be honest, I mean, to the naysayers and to people that are constantly negative, and I just tune them out, or they become less and less part of my life. I do try to speak and talk and talk about this, and some people get it and you turn them around, and some people they don't. So I do give them a chance, and we talk about it, and for people, they just continue to go back and go back and go back. I just tune them out. That's the best thing you can do, is tune them out and look for people that they're going to be in alignment with the way you want to be and the way you're thinking. And that's going to get you to rise higher and higher. So that's the answer to that. Let's go to another question here on the Zoom, and then we're going to jump to Instagram, because I see a lot of people in there saying hi and asking questions. And, I wish I could answer to everybody. I'm new into this Instagram thing. James Harris, one of my best friends, told me that I need to add something to put a question in there, but I haven't figured it out yet. So what I'm going to do is, but for next time, I'm going to do that question thing. So when I come in here, I have a bunch of questions already there, and I'm going to be able to do this better. So thanks for being patient and bearing with me on this one. I'm just being honest. I have a lot of stuff going on my computer and my phone right now. So let's do another question in here. Steve, can you see the questions too
I can see it on
on
Zoom.
Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you wanna help me pick some of those questions maybe, so we can look both of us?
Well, this would be a good question.
Go ahead.
A lot, again, everyone's been on this same forced timeout. And one of the things I've noticed is people have had very different responses. Some people keep trying to, their whole focus this time has been, can they put a deal together? Can they keep a deal in escrow? It's been all about a deal. And rather than taking advantage of this opportunity, this break, to rethink, like you doing this call, using this time to remind yourself, everyone might think, a little secret here, that Santiago's doing this for all of you. He's really doing it for himself, to remind himself of everything that he needs to do. And maybe you can speak to, what have you gotten out of this break? What has this break done for you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things, and again, is I think it's a constant learning and a struggle. I have ups and downs through this whole process, and I have an amazing wife and family that go through my moods and understand, and I snap out of it, and I try to get better. What I'm learning out of this is exactly this: is we have an opportunity. I think I have my personal beliefs, and I believe that the world's going to change for good. And I think that is an amazing time when people have awakened. We talk about the new paradigm. I think that this is an opportunity for us to think different, to do better, to change things that they were not working, obviously not working. That's why we end up where we are right now. So let's make an effort to train ourselves that when we come out of this one, let's just jump right back into what the old way of being was, because that will be the easiest way to go, right? And doing the right thing is always hard. That's why very few people do it, because it's really hard to take the right path. But we cannot jump into do the old thing, because it's going to get us into the old ways. We need to take advantage to do new, to think new, to act new, to take care of the environment. I mean, like, make a little changes. And it's not about like going out there, I'm not a new person, I'm going to do everything. Little things. Let's don't buy bottled water and plastic anymore. Let's don't, do that. These little changes that we all do become big changes down the road. And when we all add all the good things that we do, So this is a time for me to think about what has not been working for me. What are the things that I've been doing that I should stop, and what are new things that I should start to do? I mean, what are this is an opportunity to think about that, other than what I mentioned earlier, spending time with my children, with my wife, with my family. I'm lucky enough that my mom is here and was visiting, and he got to stay here now. And we all need to look in our own lives on what we're dealing with and our opportunities to be grateful for. I mean, if you come from a place of gratitude constantly, I'm telling you, it's a lot easier to be in a better place. There is a question here from Lee Amitai, I want to say the name and the last name. He or she, I'm not sure. Where do you think your kid? Okay, sorry, Lee. It says, where do you think your constant drive to do better comes from? I make it. I create it. Okay. Every day I wake up and I make an effort to have that feeling, to be better, to become better. It's a constant training. It's not, a lot of times I said, if you use the real estate as an example, it's not a sprint race. It's not like, I'm going to do this and that's it. I'm going to sell this and that's it. No, it's a sprint race. It's a long haul. Life is like that. You cannot expect that you're going to get to a point in life where, like, I don't have to do anymore. I have enough. I'm happy. I'm done. Well, if you're done, then what's the point? Then that'll be boring. It's constant change, learning, growth, and that's how it goes. I see that someone is asking you some questions, Steve, too, or maybe you want to answer.
Well, there's a question I want you to address.
Okay.
It's about working in a down market. When you first got into real estate, you walked into a market that was about to go down. What year did you start again?
2004.
Four.
Yeah,
So
market was actually great. I just didn't know anyone to sell homes to.
So, so you experienced, the down market of 08, 09, 2010. Why don't you speak to that a little bit and what the opportunity is when a market changes?
I mean, the opportunity is gigantic, right? Because when it's easy, when the market is strong and flowing and everything, you realize that a lot of people they jump into the real estate market. It doesn't really take a lot to get a real estate license, so you got a lot more people that come in the market, and then therefore you had a client that used to work before, but now his nephew had got a license, so then the client is no longer there for you. Examples like that happen a lot. So in markets like this, a lot of people go back to wanting to do different things because they cannot afford to stay in this business, or they just give up. And then what happens is, for the ones that we stay and work harder, you're going to gain more market share. So when things come back around, people that saw your name in a down market right now, they saw you were working and everything, they're going to see, and the perception is that you are continually to continue to be busy, that you've been working through that. So then it's basically an opportunity to get more market share and more credibility.
And are you having any specific conversations with sellers and buyers right now, other than checking in on them?
Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
Are you having any specific real estate related conversations with sellers and buyers right now? Or are you just checking in, seeing how people are doing?
I mean, I'm doing a little bit of everything. I'm checking in with clients and exchanging information, and we're trying new things. I think that one of the most important things right now is to analyze and see, for those that listing driven agents, if the prices are the right prices, because the things that are going to sell right now are things that are priced well. Now, when we talk about price well, it's going to be a period of time where, if you pull comps right now for a specific house, the comps that are going to come up, and you normally pull comps for the last 6 months, are not going to be necessarily accurate with the reality right now. So until things start selling and closing during this period of time, you're not going to get those realistic new comps. I mean, in 3 months from now, all the properties that have sold during this period of lockdown and down market and everything, they're going to be new numbers. And those new numbers are going to set a new standard of what the new comps are for those properties. But until that happens, there is a period of time where we don't have that. So we're looking at comps that are higher. And we're sitting with our clients and we're looking at those comps, but we need to make an adjustment, because those are comps from 6, 4, 5 months ago, even 2 months ago. It's a little bit different right now. So I think the most important is to sit down and have an honest conversation and talk to clients and see if they have the ability to lower. If they can do it, they should do it. There's no reason why to wait until we get out of this one, because I don't think once we get out of if the coronavirus gets addressed and in 2 months we're able to go back to normal, I don't personally think that I'm not trying to be negative, but I think there's going to be an adjustment, and it's normal. It's normal cycles of real estate. If you look at real estate cycles for the last 30, 40 years in LA, if we're talking about LA, or I don't know how the markets, I can only talk about the markets I study and I know about, it always has cycles. It's just part of the deal.
What do you think from your point of view, potential sellers are thinking about right now? What's on their mind?
What's on my mind?
What's the seller thinking about?
I mean, I think the seller is no one. I think there's so many sellers, and they're all in different places. There are people, they actually cannot lower the prices, and you need to understand each of your sellers and their situation. The only way to do that is having honest conversations. You're there to help. You're gonna do 100% what you can do to help them to sell, but it's important to understand each individual. You have developers. They're gonna have one way to look at things. You have somebody that owns a second home is going to be a different thing. Someone that just bought their first home and now they need to sell is going to be completely different. I think you need to go individually to understand each client need and each client possibilities, and discuss very honestly in which way you can actually help them. And sometimes, I give them the advice, like, if you can really lower the price, what about you lease it? Now, if you're gonna advise clients to lease right now, which I've done for a few clients, is don't think that you're gonna do a short-term lease and you're gonna sell for more than 6 months from now. If you wanna lease your property right now until the market gets better, look for a long-term lease. I mean, at least 1 year or a couple of years, and then things might change a little bit. But it's all about understanding the specific client need and then addressing individually all of those.
And have you gotten any calls from potential buyers saying, I would be interested if we see a big drop in prices here, or I'm a buyer at 25% below where prices were? Have you gotten any of those calls or heard about any buyers like that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, little by little, there's going to start coming out more and more. Again, the cycle, we just turn around. So I think that they're going to be coming up more opportunities. It's very unfortunate, right? Some people have to sell and some people take advantage of having the money to be able to do that. And there are a lot of people that they wait for times like this to go out there and buy. So that's why I'm saying you need to be looking at all the opportunities. So with your sellers, you need to be understanding of their personal situation to help them. And then you need to start talking with your buyers that they want to find opportunities. They're going to be good opportunities out there. And a lot of times with some, developers that I've been talking to, and I'm actually been opening escrow and moving forward, it's like, look, I mean, I know you wanted to sell for this amount and you're not making the money you wanted to make and you're making X amount less, but the reality is that you're going to cash out and then you're going to have that money in your pocket, and there are going to be opportunities out there where you're going to be able to make up that money buying right, because you're going to sell low, but you're going to buy right, vice versa, that's just the way it is. I do want to jump into the Instagram questions. I think we've done more than 5 already with Zoom. And I want to jump a little bit into the people that are asking questions in Instagram. So let's go here. Sorry, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Sorry, guys. Okay. King and Choms. I'm so bad reading at this. Anyway, he's asking, were you always so disciplined? This is what I struggle with. How do you create more discipline? I mean, I think for most part, yes, I had discipline since I was a kid because I did martial arts since I was 6. And I developed an incredible amount of discipline by doing that. I did go to the army for a year. It was mandatory in my country, so that also raised my level of discipline. But one of the things that I realized at an early stage is that even before I knew all these concepts and everything, I realized that discipline was something that I had control over it. And I liked the fact that I could manage how much time I wanted to work, going to the gym, how much time I want to train. And I realized through years, because it's not like immediate results, that all those years that I trained, all those years that I did something in the long term have paid off big time. And that feeling that you get that when you work for years or really hard in something and you achieve it, whether it's a personal goal, a fitness goal, anything that you put a lot of time and you waited for a long period of time and you achieve it, is so fulfilling that makes discipline worth it. So I can tell you right now that one of my biggest assets, or one of the biggest things I have, and I have many friends and family and people tell me, is the discipline I have. And I'm super, super, super disciplined. I mean, from waking up in the morning to doing my routines to doing this and that. And discipline is what, has got me where I am. I mean, I think that the discipline is so important. I don't have right now, but maybe for next time I can look into it and do a little research on any books, or anyone, if you have recommendations here on Instagram to give to him on books that help you and teach you how to be more disciplined. I don't really have a book that I can recommend you right now, other than, look, a question that I always ask myself, if you look at it more from an entrepreneurial point of view, if you needed to go and investigate, if you are the CEO of your company, okay, would you hire yourself? If you go and look into everything that you're doing right now, everything you're doing for your personal life, to your business, to anything and everything, would you hire yourself again, or you fire and hire someone that can do it better? I think if you start asking questions of that nature and you're honest with yourself, can you wake up 1 hour early? Can you eat less pieces of pizza? Can you run 20 minutes longer? If you start asking questions to yourself, you're going to start finding those answers. And when you put a goal for a period of time and you're disciplined and you do it and you see a result, that result's going to be so fulfilling that you're going to be like, I want to do more of this. And then you're going to start building up more and more discipline. So that's for you. Let me jump into another questions here. David Perez again here. What experience was your big break? The person you met, the deal you closed, the big change that captured you. You know, I used to think that way, David. I used to be, you know, when I was selling condos or $1, $2, $3 million houses, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait until I sell my first $10 million house. And I used to calculate my commission. I was like, if I sell that, I'm going to be good for that. After that, I'm done. Once I sell that $10 million house, everything's going to be so easy. The road's going to be paid for me. And yet you get to find out that when that happens, is the same. Yes, you might have a little bit more money in the bank account, but the big break happens when you won't notice when the big break happens, you know. And that's why times like now is important to prepare yourself, because we have that extra time, which is so valuable, to do more and prepare more. They're going to be people that are preparing themselves right now through reading, through doing these exercises, to doing visualization, that when we come out of this one, they will be more prepared to see those opportunities that are going to be out there. They will take advantage of those opportunities. So I think that perhaps your big break is on its way, and I think this is an opportunity for you to prepare yourself and get ready, because it's coming. It'll come. Okay.
And when you talk about big breaks, what comes to mind with you, your big break is when you were thinking about quitting real estate and going back to being a waiter, and drove to turn in your application and decided not to do it. That was your big break.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. And I shared that with you guys. I don't know if it was the first or the second time we talked about it, when I was, about to give up and go back into the restaurant business. And I, something inside me told me, what are you doing? And it wasn't a big break in a sense that, oh, now I'm good. It was a big break on a decision that I made.
It was a breakthrough.
It was a breakthrough inside me that almost maybe not to think anymore about when the big break is coming. That was not important anymore. I decided to do something no matter what, and I was not going to stop. And then the big break just came, and it became a reality, and I lived it, But that's what it was. I think I have 59 seconds remaining on Instagram. There is one question that someone asked: what does ultimate success look for you? Before we get cut off, I'm going to tell you the ultimate success, I think, is when you feel fulfilled. I think that no matter how much money you have, or where you are, or what you think success is, if you don't have fulfillment, if you don't feel fulfilled, then you don't have success. So if you can feel fulfilled right now with what you have, where you are, with the little bit that you might have or you think you have, if you are fulfilled right now and you're happy, then no matter where you are, you're going to be happy. But if you're not fulfilled with who you are and what you have right now, when you get to have millions of millions, or where you think you're going to be, you won't be fulfilled either, because you need to be fulfilled first. Instagram is going to cut off right now. I don't know if I can restart another one. I'm going to try for another maybe 10, 15 minutes.
I got to take off, Santiago.
All right, Steve, thanks for your time, and we'll talk later.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, guys, Steve's gone. I'll answer a few more questions here on Zoom for those that you guys want to stay. The Instagram, I'm gonna try to see if we can reconnect again for a little bit more. Okay, we're back. Just purely because I want to answer a few more questions. I saw some amazing questions. All right, the time went really fast, guys. I'm gonna go back here to Zoom and answer a few more questions. Let's see what the latest questions are. Frank Castaldini. What would you do if you have to start over again? I mean, obviously, if I had to start over again, oh, talking about learning from things that happened to you, I will definitely start the visualization and all these exercises a lot sooner. I would not make the mistakes that I made. I will learn from that. I mean, a lot of people say, like, if I could live again with the experience I have, I mean, that's a nice thought. And it kind of goes with that question you asking. But if I had to start all over again, I think, a lot of times people ask me, like, what would you like to be in your other life, or who you want to be? I I feel like I want to be me again. I feel like if I had the opportunity to be born again and have everything all over again, I would like to live. I had an amazing time with my life, and through the bad times, through the good times. Yes, I will. If I had the opportunity to start over again and remember the mistakes I made, I will try to pay attention to that. Hope that answers your question. Um, let's see here. Question for Santiago from what's um, I'm trying to. I mean, there's a lot of thank yous and comments, so I'm trying to screen to see what Tony, all panelists. Matthew Berry says, what conversations are you having with your clients right now that are on the fence about selling now versus after this is over? I mean, look, I think that it's very important that we're very realistic that we are in a recession. The recession was past due. I mean, the cycle needed to come down, and the coronavirus is just forced us to jump into right into it. The conversation I'm having with my clients is that I don't think that in 3 months this is going to go back to normal. I think that it will get a little better because we'll be able to get out and move and do the things that we normally do. But I think that it's again going personal and asking, do you have to sell? If you can hold for a couple of years, hold for a couple of years. If you want to lease it, lease it. But if you have to sell, you got to be proactive. You got to adjust those numbers. You want to be actually a little maybe below what the comps are saying to be able to sell right now. There are buyers out there. There are escrow openings, and that's the conversation that I'm having. Dana McKiernan, do you stay motivated and active and productive 7 days a week, or is there one day where you just sort of sloth? Oh, that's a great question. I don't think I do it by days. I do it by the way, how life goes and when can I do it. Yes, for most part, Monday, for those that know me, I'm very disciplined. Monday through Friday, I keep my routines, everything that I mentioned, from meditation, visualization, exercise, prayer, work. On the weekends, I try to be a little bit more. I mean, I still do my visualization and meditation. That's for sure. But I perhaps don't go to the gym that early, or maybe I don't work out on the weekends. Maybe I have a few drinks on the weekends that I don't do during the week. It's important, I think, also to give yourself a break to reset. We talked about last week how important it is to give yourself breaks and to give yourself prices, right? You close something, buy yourself something nice, buy yourself a nice dinner. You achieve something, you need to give yourself rewards for you to continue to wanting to do more. So that will be to that. I see there's a few people also still on Instagram. I don't see any questions now. Unfortunately, I lost all the questions from before. But hello, everybody. Thanks for joining. All right, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up now. Thank you for being here again. We ran out of time today, and when you have guests, for some reason, goes faster, but it was great to have Steve here with his insight. Hope you enjoyed it, and go on kick ass this week, and we'll see you next week. I'm going to try to see if I can come up with some books for the questions that I had that I can recommend on discipline. And I'm going to see if next week we can use maybe a few minutes, 10, 15 minutes out of the time that we're going to have next week to do some short little visualization exercise. I think we'll have a lot of fun. So if you're going to join next week at 10 o'clock, Find a place where you're not going to be bothered. Put your phones on airplane mode, and find a place where you won't be bothered, that is quiet. You're not going to be distracted, so we can jump into doing a little bit of visualization, and maybe hopefully you can experience a little bit of that great feeling that you get when you're visualizing, and then you can start using that as a tool for your life. It's an amazing day here in LA. I don't know where other parts of town, but go and enjoy. Enjoy being alive. Enjoy being healthy. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, guys. Take care. See you next week.